Okay, shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Yashar from the Milk Givers of Israel and the Seed Sowers of Israel camps, coming back at you with another segment. First off, I would like to say all honor, thanks, praise, and glory to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Kal Halal Yamlach Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahushai, Bahashem, Barak HaKadesh. And what I want to speak on, as you can see on my screen here, is giving to the less fortunate and the needy. You know, it seems like that's something that some of our people really have to learn how to practice, especially the ones that have the resources and the power to do so. You should always want to have a charity of heart to give to the less fortunate and the needy. Who's ever in need, you know what I mean? It really doesn't matter who it is. It could be someone you know, one of your friends. It could be a family member, someone who's close and dear to you. You should always have like a charity of heart to give to the needy, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you know someone who's struggling. They might not have a job, or they might not have the resources to sustain and take care of themselves, or maintain their bills or whatever, or take care of their families. And if you know that personally, that's something that you should want to do. You know what I mean? You should always want to give that person a helping hand. I mean, sometimes all of us, we've been through it. We all needed a helping hand at one point in our lives. You know what I'm saying? We all fall on hard times, and if you have someone who's close and dear to you, and they have the resources and the power to give you a helping hand, and they know that you do, they should want to be able to give you a helping hand, with gladness of heart. You know what I'm saying? Without you even having to come to ask them. You know what I'm saying? But it's like when we have that power to do so, we tend to be a little stingy towards one another. You know what I mean? We would rather stun on one another rather than give each other a helping hand, and that's actually a sad thing. Now, I ain't talking about all of our people. That's just some of our folks. You know what I'm saying? You do have some people out there with money. They will help those who's in need. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's someone in their family or friends, or even if someone they just know. You know what I mean? That fell upon hard times, and they see that they need a little financial help or whatever, or support, and they will do that. Some of our people will do that, but you got a lot of our folks, man, they just don't care, and they would rather sit on some of that money, and they would rather stun on you, and that's kind of messed up, man. That's like with some of the rich people in our nation. You have all of these rich folks, man, all of these sports players. You have the singers, the entertainers, or whatever. They sitting on all of these millions, man, hundreds and hundreds of millions. And I don't ever really see them do anything for the poor. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. It's like you have all of these hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, and you can't tell me that you don't know that you notice your nation of people in general is like living at the bottom of the totem pole, man. A lot of our people out there are struggling. A lot of our people out there can't get jobs. They don't have jobs to sort of sustain and take care of themselves, and stay above water, pay their bills or take care of their families or whatever. And it's kind of hard. It's messed up out here, man. Even with governmental assistance, the government is cutting all of that off now, so most of our people can't even get that. So it's like if they can't get that and they can't get a job, it's hard, man. Let alone Medicaid or whatever. So it's like you don't have no job, no income, and no Medicare, and that's kind of messed up, man. And it's mainly going on with our people. But you have a lot of rich folks out there within our nation, man. They just don't care. They have all of this money, and they sit on it, and they don't care, man. And it's a very sad thing. It's very sad. But as you can see here, you have a West Coast rapper named Blueface. You know, I guess one morning it was laid upon his heart. Maybe the Most High put the spirit on him, and he decided to go to this area that's in Los Angeles, which is called Skid Row. That's an area in Los Angeles that's known to have a whole lot of poor and homeless people there, right? So, the Most High put the spirit on him, man, and he went up over there and he started making it rain, as they say. You know what I'm saying? It looked like he have a little fives, little tens there, or whatever. I can't really see what he have, but he went up over there and he started making it rain, man, and he started giving money to the poor straight from his hand, and I think that was an okay thing to do. Now you got some people You know, it's a lot of controversy with this right here. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, he did the wrong thing. He shouldn't have done it that way. He should have done it more appropriately. He should have went to like an organization and give it to those people so they can give it to the people who really need it and stuff." But me personally, I think it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, if you go to like a charity organization to give the money to them to give to the poor, they're not going to get all of that money anyway. You know, it's like from the top, they're going to take a fee off anyway for doing the services, for giving that money that you gave them to give to the poor. And then on top of that, you know, you're going to have Uncle Sam. He's going to take his tax cut off the top. You know what I'm saying? So all of that money that you give to that organization, they're not going to give all of that money straight to the poor. And then you never know who's working up in there. You might have somebody crooked working up in there. They might try to take a little bit of money off the side or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you can't trust most of these organizations nowadays. You know what I mean? So if you want to give to the poor and it's laid upon your heart to do so, you got to go straight to them. You know what I mean? And give them what they need, man. Or, you know, you can give them gifts or whatever, or whatever they need, some clothes or some food. Now, me personally, I think if you're going to give to the less fortunate and the needy, I think just giving them money is always the best way to go. Now, it could be up in the air. It could be questionable. The person who you give the money to, they might not do the things that they should do with the money. You know what I'm saying? But according to your will, you gave that money to that person to do the things that he need to do. You know, like say, run a few errands. You know, pay some bills or whatever. You know, buy some clothes. You know, buy some food for your house, or do something special for your loved one or whatever. You know, so when you giving money to the poor, you know, you doing it from a willingness of heart of that they would do that with the money that you gave them. You know, now it's on them. You know, if they take that money and do something else, and you know they do something, they buy something frivolous, or just blow the money on nonsense, then that's on them because you know they know what they should have done with that money. You know, if they had a few bills to pay, or say if they needed to buy a car, if they was given enough money to even get a car, maybe they should have bought a car with the money. If they need some food in their house, maybe they should have bought some food. You know, if they needed to pay some bills or get some clothes, that's what they should have done. You know, but if they took the money and blew it and just bought all kinds of frivolous things, and did all kind of frivolous things with the money, then that's on them. But the blood is off your hands because you gave that person the money to do what they should do with the money, right? So that's the reason why I say if you're going to help the less fortunate and the needy, you should give them money, you know. I mean, gifts or whatever. Or if you dealing with that person personally, and then you ask them the things of what they need or what they need to do, and then you take care of that for them, then that's another good way to do it too. You know what I mean? But if you're dealing with a broad band of folks and you want to help them, I think giving them money is the best way to go. You know what I'm saying? Let them, you know, have the feeling of having money in their hand again, because, you know, some of our people, you know, we went a long time without having a lot of money in our hand, you know, to basically just do the things that we need and want to do with it, right? Because a lot of our people is oppressed, man. And, you know, a lot of other people, they choose to ignore it like it's not going on, or like it doesn't exist. But it goes on, you know. And as you can see in this picture here, you know, I mean, look, a lot of people out there, they struggling, man. You know, they can't get the resources that they need or whatever, or they can't get the jobs to get the resources that they need, or take care of themselves. And it's a sad thing. You know, so basically I was making this video to let the folks know, man, you know, I mean, we should always have a little bit of charity in our heart, you know what I mean? To give to the less fortunate and the needy. You know, no matter who it is, it could be, you know, a family member or a friend, someone who's dear to your heart. You know, if you know that they're falling upon hard times or whatever, they may not have a job to sustain and you know, pay their bills or whatever, or just basically get the regular resources, the basic necessities just to live. You know, you should be able to help that person out with willingness of heart, man. And they shouldn't even have to come to you to ask you. You know what I mean? If you know that that person is going through something, you should offer it. You know what I mean? And that's the right way to do it, right? So I want to bring out a few scripture that's relating to this topic that I'm talking about, right? And I'm going to go to Proverbs 19, and I'm going to read verse 7, okay? All right, let's see here. Probably got to go back. Okay, here we go. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17. And it reads, He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Most High, the Lord. Right? So this is letting you know that if you have pity upon the poor and you have the willingness of charity in your heart to give to the poor, you lend it to the Most High. Because the poor is close to the Most High. Right? Because, in generalization, like between the rich and the poor, you will find that the poor is more spiritually connected to the Most High. Because the poor is always praying to the Most High, to get him up out of the situation that he's in, the financial situation or the economical situation that he's in. He may not be able to take care of himself, financially or whatever, or he may not have a job to sustain and pay his bills or whatever. So the poor, more than likely, they're always close to the Most High. They're always praying to the Most High to get them up out of the situation, to open up a door of opportunity to them. So it says here, he that lendeth to the Salakia, he that hath pity on the poor, lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he have given will he pay again. So that's another thing with our people. We feel, if we give something out, we're not going to get it back. If it's not something that's concerning a tax write-off or whatever, then they're not going to do it. Or if they feel that the person can't pay them back personally, they're not going to give to that person or lend to that person. But right here it says the Most High will give you it back, right? And that which he have given will he repay him again, right? So the Most High sees it. If you're helping someone that's less fortunate, the Most High is going to see that, and he's going to take note of that, and he's going to always give you back what you have given out, right? And it's always a beautiful thing to do so, right? So I'm going to go to chapter 11, verse 25, in the same book, Proverbs, okay? And it says here, the liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself, right? So this is another way. If you're a liberal soul, if you believe in equality, and if you don't like to see someone struggling or whatever, or if you know someone that fell upon hard times and you want to see them get back on their feet or start enjoying life again, you have a liberal soul, because you like to see balance. You know what I mean? Not only you want yourself to be doing good, but you want the others around you to be doing good as well. Whether they're family or friends or someone you always want to see someone happy and living good, right? So that's the liberal soul that you have inside of you. And it shall be made fat. That means the Most High, just as in the last verse that I was reading, he's going to bless you. He's going to make you fat. He's going to make sure that you have all of the resources that you need, right? And he that watereth shall be watered also himself. So if you water somebody, which is, you helping them when they're down, you giving them all of the things that they may need to sustain themselves, that's watering that person. And then it says here, he that watereth shall be watered also. So that's what it's explaining again. The Most High, he's going to water you. So if you're watering the less fortunate, the Most High is going to supply you back with all of the things that you've given out, or even more. You never know, right? I'm going to go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 6. All right, this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 6, verses 6 through 8. All right. And it says here, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as the servants of AhYahShaRahChazaq, doing the will of Yahweh from the heart. Right. So, when, just like I was saying, you have to have that willingness of heart, right? And the person who that may be struggling a little bit, you have to give with a willingness of heart. And you shouldn't do it with eye service, meaning, you shouldn't do it in front of people. Or say, if you know someone, if that person who is struggling know the same people that you shouldn't basically give that person who's struggling in front of the person that the both of you know. You know what I mean? Or in front of a group of people, so they can see you and say, "Oh wow, look at this right here. He's a good person." You know what I'm saying? So, you should always, do it from the kindness of your heart, not to get praises of men, right? That's why it says here, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as servants of AhYahShaRahChazaq, doing the will of Yahweh from the heart, right? With good will doing service as to the Lord, Yahweh, and not to men, right? So you always want to have the Most High in your heart, your mind, when you're doing a good service like this. When you have the charity of the heart, you have the spirit of giving. You want to do it in a sense of knowing that the Most High is going to bless you. And not worry about how men going to think of you. That should be the last thing in your mind to receive praises of men when you're doing a good deed like this, right? So that's why it says here, with good will doing service as to the Lord, Yahweh, and not to men, knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall he receive of the Lord, Yahweh, whether he be bond or free. Right? So it explains it right here again in verse 8. The Most High is going to bless you. I mean, that's the service. That's the feeling that we should have when we have a charitable heart to give. We should always have in mind that the Most High is going to bless us. Rather than trying to receive praises of men. Right. All right. So I'm gonna go to the book of Saint Matthew, chapter 6. Verses 1 through 4. Okay. And this sort of relate to the last biblical verse that I was bringing out in Ephesians, right? It says here, take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father Yahweh which is in heaven. Right? So it's letting you know your good deeds, don't do it before men. Or don't even let nobody know that you're doing it. If you're gonna do something, just go ahead and do it. Do it to the person who that need this help, and contact that person personally and say, hey, this is what I want to do for you. I know this is what you need, so I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna come over to your house or whatever, or meet me in a mutual place or whatever, and this is the good deed that I'm gonna do for you, right? And you should only have contact with that person. Don't call this person and call that person and say, oh, I did this for him, I did that for him. Look at what I gave him. Now he's doing better. That's something that you're not supposed to do, right? So that's why it says here, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father Yahweh which is in heaven. So when the Most High see that you're being braggadocious about what you're doing for the less fortunate, no matter who they are, you're not going to have no reward for the Most High. So that's the reason why you want to do your alms in private, so you would basically get that blessing back from the Most High of what you gave out, right? Chapter 2. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Right? So, as it says right here again, don't be a hypocrite. If you're going to do your alms, do it in secret, do it from a genuine heart. You know what I mean? You ain't got to tell everybody. You ain't got to call all around town and say, oh, I'm about to help this person out, so they can get back on their feet. That's something that you got to do in private, right? Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. So if that's the way you're going to do it, and then you're calling here, you're calling there, you're telling this person, you're telling that person, you have your reward. Because the people that you're going to be telling, they're going to be thanking you and praising you for doing what you did for that person who's less fortunate or fell on hard times. So the reward you're going to get is from them, which is the praise and the cheers and everything. But you're not going to get back from the Most High what you dealt out, because you already have your praise, right? That's why it says here, verily I say unto you, they have their reward, right? But when thou doest thy alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. That time, Salakia, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father, which seeth in secret, himself shall reward you openly. Right, so that's the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do all your alms in secret. And the Most High, this as it says in verse 4, he's going to reward you openly. So when the people see that you're constantly being blessed, and then, it seems like everyone's just seeing you doing good, and, you always have money on you, you're always having a good time, you're enjoying yourself with all your resources, and it seems like you just can't have a bad day, right? Everyone see you just always doing good. So that's the Most High blessing you openly so the people can see. So, and then on top of that, if a spiritual person see that, they're going to know that you're a good person and you have a charitable heart, because you're always being blessed by the Most High. You know what I mean? And that's the only thing they see. They don't see you struggling or falling on hard times or whatever, so they know that you're being blessed by the Most High, right? But that's also up in the air too, because, you have a lot of people out here in this world nowadays. You can do wickedness and get blessed by the wicked people for doing wickedness. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the person that's not spiritual. They may not understand that. You know what I mean? They're going to be looking at it from a godly sense, a spiritual sense, and they're going to think that you're being blessed by the Most High. But that's not always the case, because you got a lot of wicked people out here nowadays. They being blessed for doing wicked things from wicked people, right? So, you have to have the spirit of discernment of the two. So, yeah, this as it says here in verse 4, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father, which seeth in secret, himself shall reward you openly. So the reason why it says the Father, which seeth in secret, you know, he's basically peeping everything. Just like the Most High is everywhere. He's omnipresent, you know what I mean? So he sees everything. No matter what's going on in this world, he's omnipresent. He's all over the place. He sees all. He knows all. And the reason why it says he's in secret, because no one can see the Most High. The Most High is a spirit. So, he's in secret. But he sees us. He sees what we're doing. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I say, thy Father which seeth in secret, himself shall reward you openly. Right? So you always want to have a charitable heart, and you always want to do it without the whole world or the whole town knowing, right? Or anyone you know. Okay, so I'm going to go to chapter 19, verse 16. Still in St. Matthew. Okay. And it reads here, and behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God, Yahweh. But if thou wilt enter into life, which is heaven, that's everlasting life, right? Keep the commandments, right? So AhYahShaRahChazaq, he's letting you know here, if you want to enter into life, which is heaven, eternal life, you have to keep the Most High's commandments, which is loving thy fellow brother and sister, having a charitable heart. You showing love towards them, when they're in time of need, right? So that's a part of keeping the commandments of the Most High. This as AhYahShaRahChazaq said here, in which the world calls Jesus Christ, right? But if thou wilt enter into life, which is heaven, keep the commandments. he saith unto him, which, like, the rich man is asking him, which one should I keep? Jesus, in which the world calls, Slakia, Yahushua, which the world calls Jesus, said, thou shalt not, Slakia, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. Right? So, those are a lot of commandments that our people have keeping nowadays. I mean, all you have to do is just look around you. You could turn on the news, or, you can even nowadays just go outside and you're going to hear about someone getting murdered, right? One of your peoples or whatever, they're going to tell you, oh, such and such got shot or killed the other day. And then, thou shalt not commit adultery. I mean, I shouldn't even need to explain that there. I mean, you see that going on every day. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. So unfortunately, that's another sin that our people love to break. They love to bear false witness. For what reason, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's just to make themselves look better and bigger than the next person who they bearing false witness against, right? Honor thy mother, Salakia, honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Right? So just as I was explaining before, you should love your fellow brethren and sister, especially if they fall upon hard times, you should love them enough to give them a helping hand, especially if you have the resources to do so, right? So that's one of the commandments there. And this is Yahushua speaking, in which the world calls Jesus Christ, right? Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So thy neighbor is your fellow brother and sister, right? The young man saith unto him, all these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Right? So he's explaining to Yahushua that, he been keeping the big 10, so to speak, right? Which is the Most High's 10 commandments, right? So Yahushua replied to him, which it says here, Jesus said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give it to the poor. Right? So Yahushua is making it perfectly clear. Give to the poor. I mean, if you have the resources, just as this man have here, Yahushua is telling him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast. Right? So that's the only thing that's stopping him for going to eternal life, which is heaven. Because he's a rich man. He have a lot. He have a lot of resources to help a lot of people out that's in need. And Yahushua knows that. So he's telling him, go and sell that thou hast and give it to the poor. And thou shalt have treasure in heaven. Right? So that's how you gain your treasure in heaven. You may have treasure down here on earth because you may have a lot of money in the bank or whatever, but the true treasure is in heaven. That's what we're all put here to do. We're put here to build our spiritual treasure, which is in heaven, which is given to the poor and the less fortunate. That's one of the things that we may do amongst keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, right? And thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me, right? So to follow Yahushua HaMashiach, in which the world calls Jesus Christ, that's having faith in the HaMashiach according to the scripture in truth, and keeping the Most High's law, statutes, commandments, because when Yahushua was sent into this world, he was sent to instill the law, statutes, and commandments back into us, who were a sinful nation, to bring us back to the fold of the Most High, right? So that's what it means to follow Yahushua. That's why he told the man here, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Right? So that's letting you know, just like I was explaining before, some of our people, we can have the resources to help the less fortunate, but a lot of us just don't want to do it. We're stingy at heart. We don't have that willingness to give. We don't have that charitable heart to give to those who's in need, right? And sometimes that's even, according to who we know. It could be a family member. It could be a friend, a close friend. It could be a family friend, someone we know. And we know that this person may be struggling a little bit, but being that we're too stingy and we don't have that willingness of heart to give, we would know that. And, some of our people would just be like, well, hey, to hell with him, I know he's on hard times now, but I mean, hey, he'll find a way. I ain't got to give him anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's a messed up way to be, man. That's a very cruel, wicked, messed up way to be. You know. But yeah, that's what it says here. So the rich man, he didn't want to give up anything. He wanted to sit on his money. Didn't want to help out the poor. And and it's sad because it don't make no sense because when you die, you can't take none of that with you. If you have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, you can't take that with you. You know what I mean? So you might as well build up your treasures in heaven and your spiritual brownie points, so to speak. With the Most High, of keeping His laws, statutes, commandments, and showing love to your fellow brother and sister. If you have the resources to help people out, you should do it. Like unfortunately, look at Kobe. Kobe, he had what, maybe 500-600 million dollars in the bank. He had his own personal helicopter. He had fancy cars. He had Lamborghinis, Ferraris, you name it, right? Had mansions, probably all over the country. And but I haven't seen him do anything for the poor. I haven't seen Kobe on the news or on TV or whatever, or heard anything him on the radio about him doing anything to help the poor. I haven't heard him, go to a poor neighborhood in Los Angeles or even back in his own hometown, Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? I haven't heard him go to Philadelphia and help the poor there, give out gifts to the kids or even to the grown-ups. Grown-ups can get gifts too, or even money. I haven't seen him go to a poor neighborhood and say, here, here's $1,000 for your hardship, just to pay the bills for the month. Or here's $2,000, go on a nice vacation, you and your family, go somewhere nice, or if you just want to just keep it and pay some bills or whatever, or get the basic necessities, to sustain to maintain your household. I haven't heard him do anything like that. You know what I mean? But he had the resources to do that, and not only him, you got a lot of rich people too. That's within our nation that choose not to do things like that, and it's sad because I know that they know. I mean, I'm pretty sure they see it every day. When they're out and about or doing things. Maybe it all depends on if they're in those type of neighborhoods. Because if you have our people that's rich, they're not going to really go to the hood like that. Because of certain consequences that they may get involved in. But if they're worried about those consequences, if they was a person that had a giving and charitable heart, they wouldn't have to worry about those type of situations when they go to the neighborhood because the people will love you. Because if they know that you're people, if you're a person that comes to the neighborhood, a poor neighborhood, and you help them, like say giving them gifts or giving them money to help them with their hardships or whatever, those people in that neighborhood will love you. You wouldn't even have to go around with a security guard, because you would have so much love from the people, they would be willing to protect you. They would say, hey, this person right here, they can come to the neighborhood. It's all good. And I don't want to see no one touch them. If someone touch them, I'm going to be on you. That's how much I love this person, right? Because I know what he do. He helps us out. He comes around every now and then. He gives out gifts to the kids. He gives out money to the parents, to maintain the households around here, to pay the bills. And you will receive a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? But it seems like our people that's rich, man, they don't have that type of mindset. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why a lot of them can't come back to the neighborhood because they know. The people there is poor, they're oppressed. A lot of them don't have jobs or whatever to maintain and take care of themselves and their families. If they see someone rich in their neighborhood, more than likely, you know what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? But if you had that mindset to give, and to help your people out, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. You can walk freely through the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So, that's the mindset that our people should have, man. It's just unfortunate that a lot of our people don't. I'm going to go to the book of St. Luke, chapter 6. Okay? The book of Luke, chapter 6. And I'm going to go to verse 30. And it reads, "Give to every man that asks of thee, and and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again." Right? So this is letting you know that when a man that's down on their luck or whatever, I don't even like to use the word luck anyway, because that's, to me, that's associated with the word Lucifer, so I don't like to use luck. You know what I mean? But if a man is down, if he's down but he's not out, he falling on the hard times or whatever, right? So it says here, "Give to every man that asketh of thee, and of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again." Right? So if you going to give to someone that's less fortunate, if they come to you and they ask you, 9 times out of 10 they know that you have it and you can supply it to them. So that's the whole reason why they're asking you for it in the first place, right? So it says here that you should give to them. You shouldn't be stingy with it. You should always have that charity in your heart to give, right? "And of him that taketh away thy goods, ask them not again." Now that's what our people have a habit of doing. We don't give freely. You know what I mean? If we give somebody something, we always gonna ask them, "Hey, when you gonna pay me back?" You know what I'm saying? "I need this right here. I just can't give this to you right here. I can loan it to you, but I can't give it to you." You know what I mean? So that's like you're not even really giving it to them. You're not doing it with willingness of heart because you're asking for it again, right? But right here in verse 30, it says here, "And of him that taketh away thy goods," which is, the resources that you have the power to give them, "ask them not again." So you're not supposed to really ask that person back for what you gave them, especially if you know that they're not able to pay you back. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole reason why they're asking you for it anyway, because they're not really actually able to pay you back. So they're asking for it so you can help them out. And then if it's upon that person to give it back to you, if during a time or whatever in the future they may have it and they're able to give it back to you, then they will. And they'll probably give you back with interest, right? Verse 31. "And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise." Right? So if you want to be blessed by the men who you're helping, then, you bless them with what you can provide for them. Right? Because, basically that's what you would want someone to do to you if you was in their shoes, right? So, if just like I said, if you have the resources to do that, you know, help that person out. And then, of course, if something like that was to happen to you, then you wouldn't have to worry about the Most High sending someone your way to help you out. Verse 32. "For if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them." Right? So this is saying, if you're only going to help someone that's close to you, you know what I'm saying, that you sort of have favoritism towards, then what blessing are you going to get for that? You know what I'm saying? Because you're only helping someone that that's able to help you back. Like, say it's like a rich person helping out a rich person. You know what I'm saying? Like what thanks you going to get for that? What blessing are you going to get for this person already have money? You, like, say if you're a rich man, right, and you supply somebody who's rich also with a Cadillac, or Porsche or whatever, but the person have a Lamborghini sitting in their driveway. Like, what blessing is that? The person have a Lamborghini in the driveway, but you buy him, something that costs a couple of $50,000 less or whatever. I mean, it really doesn't make no sense, right? So it says here, for if ye love them which love you, what think have ye? For the sinners also love those that love them. So that's also saying that you're being a hypocrite. You know what I mean? So if you're only doing for those that's that's only able to do something for you back, or you're doing something for someone that you show favoritism towards, then you're not going to get blessed for it, because the Most High knows your heart and He knows your intentions. You know what I mean? So you're not going to get blessed for it, just as it says here. What think have ye? For the sinners also love them that love them. Right? Verse 33. And if ye do good to them which do good unto you, Salakia, which do good to you, what think have ye? For the sinners also do the same. So just as I was explaining before, if you're only helping out someone that can help you back, and you know it in your mind that you know they can help you back, that's the whole reason why you're helping them, then what blessing you're going to get? Because you know that person's able to help you back. So your blessing is only going to be from that person who you help. If you gave them, like, say, $500, they're going to give you back the $500 from that person. So you're going to get the reward from that person. You're not going to get it from the Most High, right? So that's why he says, what think have ye? For the sinners also even, Salakia, the sinners also do even the same, right? Verse 34, and if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive, this is like I was explaining before, right? What think have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive as much again, right? So I explained that all during verse 33. So it really doesn't pay, you know, to lend to someone who you know that's going to pay you back. You get the true blessings to lend it to the poor. This, as it says, what Yahushua, he said in St. Matthew, you know, take all ye have and give it to the poor. He didn't say take all ye have and give it to the rich. You know what I mean? So, when you give to the poor, the Most High bless you, man. To the people who you know that's fallen upon hard times, and they're less fortunate, and they're not able to pay you back. So that's the whole reason why they're asking you for it, because it's something that they need, to sustain the things that they already have, right? Or to get the things that they need. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Okay, here's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 6 through 9. And it reads, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Right? So this is letting you know, if whatever you give out, you're going to get back. No matter what, the Most High is always going to bless you. So if you give a lot, you're going to give a lot. If you give a little, you're going to receive a little, but you're going to get what you put out. You know, every man according as his purpose and his heart. So let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver. Right? So this, as I was saying before, he love you to have a charitable heart. He loves you to give and have a willingness to give. Someone shouldn't have to come to you and ask you, especially if you know that that person, is struggling. You know what I mean? And they don't have the resources, to basically, as I was saying before, sustain the things that they have, or to get the things that they need, right? So this, as it says here, not grudgingly or of a necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. So you should always, you should be the first one to offer rather than that person coming to you to ask. You know, verse 8, and Yahweh is able to make all grace abound towards you, that ye always having all sufficiency in all things may abound to every good work. Right? those good works is helping the poor, helping the less fortunate, you know, or you can say doing the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, and that is a part of the commandments, which is helping the poor, right? So, and the Most High is going to make sure that you're sufficient in all things, so you don't have to worry about if you're going to get all of that money back, or whatever you gave back to you, because the Most High, He sees what you're doing, and He knows your heart, and if He knows that you're doing it willingly and cheerfully, He's going to supply all of those things back to you and more, right? Verse 9, as it is written, He hath dispersed abroad, He hath given to the poor, right? His righteousness remaineth forever, right? So right here, again, it's letting you know, the Most High always deal with the poor, no matter what. Even though the scriptures say He maketh rich and He maketh poor, but He always deal with the poor. He gives to the poor, because the poor is closer to Him in heart. We're always praying to the Most High to open up a door of opportunity to us, right? So, yeah, you got to give to the poor, man, and the less fortunate, and that's something that our people who have the resources should have the mind to do, All right, so I'm going to end this here, and this is in the book of Numbers, chapter 6, okay, verses 22 through 27. And, this is for the ones that's actually doing it. If you have a charitable heart, you have a willingness to give and to help people, you're the type of person that would rather approach someone to ask them, if they need something rather than someone having to come to you. You know what I mean? That's a good way to be, man. And it's a blessing, to have people like you around, because a lot of our people are not like that. You know what I mean? So right here in the book of Numbers, this is basically dedicated to the ones that does that, you know. And the Lord Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee, and be gracious towards thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee, and give thee peace. Right? So, this is what an appreciative person would say to someone who's helping them. If they're down, and they may not have much to, just like I was saying, sustain the things that they have, or to get the things they need, or say pay a couple of bills that they're late on. You know what I mean? And then they come across someone that's willing to help them and give them the resources that they need to do those things, right? So this is basically what that person would say to the person that helped them out, right? And I'm going to start over again at verse 24. The Lord Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Right? In other words, the Most High is going to bless you for doing your good deed, right? Okay, so I'm going to end that there. And, this is basically dedicated to the people that help the less fortunate, that helps the poor. They always have their mind on the poor and helping their people, not being stingy, not being grimy and spiteful minded, And, this is dedicated to you. So hopefully that this was an enjoyable video. Hopefully that, some of these scriptures that I brung out, some people can use for themselves. Hopefully that it was edifying. Okay. Until the next time, I say shalom.